Max Verstappen got revenge on Oscar Piastri for Jeddah and Miami. He overtook Oscar around the outside for the lead of the race and eventually went on to win the race in dominant fashion. And how he made the move is even more exciting. So at the race start, Oscar has a good launch off the line, and even in the second phase of the start, as we like to call it, he was still ahead of Max Verstappen. And in P3, George Russell had also a good start, and momentarily, Verstappen was effectively P3. He was behind George Russell as well in terms of like track position. And Verstappen, this is what he does. It's a 4D chess move. What he does is he boxes George Russell in so that he is stuck behind Piastri. And since he is a little bit behind George Russell as well, Piastri gets the illusion that Verstappen around the outside is not going to be a threat, but George is going to be a threat. This forces Oscar to take a conservative line into the Tamburello chicane, which opens up a gap around the outside, and late braking Max Verstappen, you know what he does. He was side by side Oscar going into the Tamburello chicane, and by the time Oscar knew it, it was too late and Verstappen was in the lead. The way he executed the entire move after realizing that he did not have the start that he desired is actually very impressive. Another thing that impressed me massively was Red Bull's race pace. In one of my earlier videos, I was talking about how the only threat to Oscar Piastri's championship hopes is that Red Bull getting their shit together and giving Max Verstappen a faster car on Sundays. And they did that in Imola. When Verstappen took the lead from Piastri, I was wondering if he can stick to it. I was wondering if Red Bull will show the older problems of excessive tire degradation and all that type of stuff. But luckily, it didn't. Obviously, Max Verstappen is great at tire management. I was checking out the deviation of pace from the average of a particular stint and all of the laps within that stint, and his deviation of pace was the minimal, especially his first stint and his last stint, because both of them happened in free air. People will say that it's because of the free air. I kind of say that, yeah, that is true, but it's also because he's Max Verstappen. Regardless, the Red Bull's race pace was very impressive. That's the only threat to Oscar Piastri's title hopes, because Verstappen right now has a car that can qualify and a car that can hold on to the position that he qualifies in. And that's the biggest fucking nightmare of McLaren. The third thing that I wanted to talk about is how McLaren fumbled their strategy and lost another 2 versus 1 against Max Verstappen. This is not the first time in which McLaren had two cars compared to Red Bull's one, which is Max Verstappen. So initially, when Piastri loses the lead, what he could have done is drop back a few seconds and then maintain that pace, trying to stay in the undercut window and wait for the race to come to them to make a move. Obviously, as you know, McLaren people are a bunch of bitches who just panic with the first sign of trouble, and they pitted Oscar Piastri. And because they were panicking when they pitted him, the pit stop was a disaster as well. And in fact, both of the pit stops of Oscar Piastri were shit. Both of them were 1 second slower compared to Max Verstappen's pit stops. So McLaren, again, need to get their shit together. They are consistently losing 2v1 battles against Max Verstappen while still having the fastest car because of their bitch-ass mentality. They need to make the most out of the situation and think of the long game. If Piastri would have just dropped back a few seconds to get out of the dirty air and maintained position, there was a possibility that he could have undercut Verstappen or something like that, or at least capitalized on both virtual safety car and the full safety car and get cheap pit stops compared to others and at least come home in P2 instead of P3. Now, amid all of this, I don't want to talk a lot of shit about Oscar Piastri because this is his first time fighting at the front, and his championship rival is none other than Max Verstappen, one of the most ruthless drivers on the grid. There are a lot of little things that he needs to learn along the way, and some lessons in the Formula One racing game, as we call it, You learn it the hard way. You have to make mistakes. You have to lose position. You have to lose race wins. I'm not worried about Oscar Piastri not learning from this experience because I'm pretty sure he will, and he's talked about this in the post-race interviews. I am worried about McLaren making these type of stupid strategy mistakes again and again. But either way, for fans, for all of us, it's amazing because the title battle is now shaping up. Finally, in 2025, we have multiple title contenders. Yes, I'm counting Lando Norris as well. We have multiple title contenders. Oscar Piastri is great. He's going to learn, he's going to recover and bounce back from this. Max Verstappen is obviously a legend. This season is going to be awesome. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.